What's going on YouTube? So I wanted to bring attention to becoming a real estate agent, real estate broker, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. A lot of agents don't, or I would say experienced agents don't tell you the entire story. I'm not a myself. I'm not a real estate agent. I'm not a real estate broker. I do not have my license. This is my own opinion. Um, And so, first things first, why do you want to get into real estate? Why do you want to become an agent or a broker or whatever it's called these days? You have to really think about that. For myself, I used Kaplan Real Estate Education through a brokerage. Got free education, but they don't pay for the license, and the license costs a couple $100 to take the test, to get your license, to get fingerprints done and everything else like that. The one thing that agents won't tell you is that you are your own boss for the most part. Through brokerage firms, different for every one of them, but you don't keep most of the time you don't keep 100% of your commission. Some of it will go to the brokerage, and then the brokerage pays you. That's how it works. You have to pay for your own marketing. You have to pay for your own leads. They don't pay for your gas. They don't do a lot of different things. And I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but I really don't care. The As a family member told it to me, you have to be self-driven in order to do it. So the reason why I stopped was because the license part of it costs a couple $100. That's why. And I have to make a career change now. The average agent doesn't make that much money. They make maybe $50,000-$60,000 a year, maybe a little bit more. Depends on where you live at. You cannot. There's a lot of rules and regulations what you can and cannot do. Depending on the brokerage that you go with, you cannot create your own brokerage until like in my state, you have to wait at least 3 years, and then you have to take another test to become what's called a managing broker, to create your own brokerage firm. So it's extremely hard. So the only pros that I've seen about becoming an agent is using the MLS, the multi-listing service. Every agent in every state has their own. You can look up the comps, you can look up all the information that you need for that, the seller's house. And there's just a whole bunch of other benefits to using it, but it does cost money to use it. It costs, I don't know what it is, like in my state, I think it's like $10 or $15 a month, maybe more. I'm not entirely sure. Another thing too is if you're like, I'll bring this up, if you're wholesaling and you're an agent, I mean, you can have the best of both worlds, but at the exact same time, regardless, you have to disclose that you're an agent or a broker to the seller. And a lot of agents don't like wholesalers because they think that wholesalers are ripping sellers off. They're not. I'm going to say this once, that the majority of agents don't know what they're doing, and they list a property that needs $100,000 worth of work, and they list it at retail value. I'm sorry to say this, but your listing is gonna sit on the market for 5 to 7 months, maybe, or probably 4 to 6 months on average, trying to sell that deal. And then you get investors, and then you are not doing your fiduciary duty, is what they call it. And that's why the seller cancels on you, because you're not selling the property. And at the end of the day, a listing agent, if they're inexperienced, All they care about is their commission. That's all they care about. I have never met an agent that doesn't care about their commission. And so there's a lot of pros, there's a lot of cons, but for the majority of the time, I see more cons than pros. It costs money to get going and to continue your career with your brokerage. You don't get any health benefits, like barely any health benefits from the brokerage. You're a 1099 employee, basically. And I can't speak for every state, but it's agents these days are so inexperienced. I'm not an agent, yes, but I see it all the time. I stopped doing real estate just because it takes a toll. It really does. You're constantly getting yelled at by sellers, constantly getting yelled at by buyers. You have to create a database, and it's just a lot of work. And a lot of people are like, oh, well, agents are lazy. Yeah, for the most part they are, because they don't do their job at all. If for an agent, just so you know, if you get a listing, it's your job to present any offer that comes to you, to the seller. Doesn't matter how low or how high it is. It's your job. You don't know if they're going to take it or not. So, but that's my opinion on becoming an agent. And at the exact same time, it's there's so many regulations with agents now nationwide or in my specific state that what you learn to become an agent doesn't even help you when you get your license and start getting leads in to start closing on for commissions. It doesn't help you. I could go down a whole entire list on why it doesn't help you. The organization called NAR, they do it so that you are getting protected, but the seller or the buyer is getting protected for the most part. It teaches you about the laws. That's all it is. It's a very ridiculous requirement you need 60 hours of the federal and 30 hours of statewide. Okay, cool. Why? It doesn't do any good for the older generation that got their license and stuff like that. How about you look outside of the box on how people have become wealthy with real estate? You're limiting yourself. So that's just my take on it. And hope this helps someone. Yeah. So, but real estate investing is where it's at, but it takes a lot of work. Just like being an agent takes a lot of work, but there's a lot of rules, regulations, and there's a lot of hidden fees. So hope that helps you. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below and I'll try to answer them as best I can. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your weekend.